We are back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are back. Early Birds Podcast live breakdown to talk about the third episode of Survivor Wisconsin Second Chance. I'm your host, Richie. I'm joined by my co-host today.
I'm Aleks.
I am also Aleks. Thank you for tuning in.
So we are here to talk about all the fun stuff involving the third episode of Second Chance, the surprises, the shocks, everything, all leading to a very fun vote off. So I don't know if there's too much to talk about beforehand. Applications for next year's seasons are currently closed until the beginning of 2026. They'll reopen then around then. We do have another episode later this week and another one couple next week that we will talk about towards the end. As always, please hold your questions until the very end so that we can answer them. Due diligence, due time. I've said this multiple times. Some people don't like to listen to me. Go figure. But I think we should get started, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and I will say I won't compare Will to Addie. You live, you learn. All right, let's get into it.
All right, so we get to the beginning of the episode. Everyone starts to see that Annika was the third one voted out of the game, i.e. the one voted off at the end of last week's episode. A lot of people are very shocked. A lot of people are more so just surprised, I think, more than anything on Tribe Lico because they didn't expect anyone to have to go through this. Yeah, I mean, I think they're all kind of shocked, and then it's kind of revealed to both them as well as the people voted out of the game that night one has ended. They've all officially made it to day 2 at minimum. And yeah, I thought it was some funny moments. We do kind of see some content with the people voted out where they're kind of just like trying to, like, they're getting used to everything. And just kind of being like, wow, like, I can't believe, like, we're all voted out. And I will say there was actually a funny scene that I did record. I think part of it was shown, but I don't think the funniest part was shown. So the funniest part that I think I alluded to at the end of the live chat on the live episode was that towards the end of the episode, I think there was a talk from Joey and Jamil regarding Nolan. With how I think Joey was joking about how Nolan was going to have a field day with him. And they were cracking jokes. I don't think it was anything like that severe. But the entire time, you just kind of have Joey, like, kind of just, like, talking more about it. And you have Jamil right under the bed, kind of, like, making, like, faces and everything. Like, it was something really funny like that. You know, and it was all for fun and games is what it looked like. And, like, Joey just keeps talking. He's like, you know, he can have a good day, good week, good Christmas, good whatever. And then, like, someone's like, well, isn't he Jewish? And he's like, well, good Hanukkah, whatever. Like, it was a funny scene. I'm kind of sad it didn't make it to air because I thought it was a really funny scene. But yeah. As well as some other fun stuff we get during night one. We do get Kira on the ground is what I'm going to call this scene. So during the events of night one, Kira ends up finding an idol. Very stealthy tactics, as we'll look into it with. She ends up finding an idol. Ben kind of helps her in some ways, if you want to call it that. But Ben is in the knowledge that Kira has an idol now, I think is what it looks like, which is really good to know who has an idol in your pocket. It can almost hold as much power as having an idol. Not the same, but it can hold information's important in the game.
Yeah, like as we saw last season as well.
Right. I mean, Nick definitely didn't see Kira get this idol.
Mainly Jimmy and Sam, but yeah. And Nick as well, you know, Nick. But yeah.
So Kayla, or not Kayla, sorry. There's a lot of talks throughout the night. And it even kind of revealed more so as we go on to day 2 now, as people are talking, getting their confessionals, where Amelia ends up talking about how, like, some of them were talking about a girls' alliance. However, Amelia's hesitant with the girls' alliance. Addie's kind of just out of it. She's done. She wants to go home, you know, because she works second shift, not used to waking up earlier in the day, I think is what it sounds like. So I think a lot of that was, a lot of it was Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. There was a funny
That's
comment
fine. We can
that actually.
a bit more.
Yeah, so there's some funny moments even in Vince's confessionals where he has his little puppets basically trying to call out Maris and Will for their games about how they're pretty big threats in the game and how he kind of knows that they're talking. He knows what they're doing. And I do think it's just really funny all in all, just the way Vincent does this. And I thought it was really funny. I laughed. I do know there's stuff about Nick predicting about like swaps and merge and all that as he's talking to, I believe it was Vince and Dick, and Addy kind of stumbles out, I think for a smoke break or a ciggy or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's probably a lot more that I'm not talking about right now, so I'm gonna pass off to you guys.
Yeah. The whole night singles was really just well done by Devin, because having Kira narrate the whole thing and showing it as well is just perfect.
Yeah, I will say I do love the editing of that entire scene. That was something I really liked. Just kind of like narrating the scene, kind of going back and forth with it. Like I said, it's last week. I think it's really cool, but I will say that was really fun to watch. So that was great. Yeah. That was great editing work. I love it. I hope we get to see more of that.
Yeah. But yeah, again, day 2 now, a lot of good confessionals kind of going into day 2. Of course, Vincent with his puppets. The first sighting of the puppets we saw this whole season. It's just so funny how he just does it, just so naturally as well. His confessional was probably the best one we saw this episode, because I was also the one filming it as well. It was just so funny just seeing him just be so natural with the puppets. And then we also get Amelia talking about the Dev Alliance, how that's gonna go into day 2. Ben kind of talking about how his game and like how he's kind of like evolving his game from his first season to now, and just kind of being more there in the game and not just being so chaotic. He's more of he's dialed back in now to being more of like a strategic chaotic guy. But yeah, I love the day 2 confessionals. It was so fun to watch. And I think that's really all I have for day 2 stuff before we get to the challenge.
Steib, anything you want to talk about with night 1 to morning 2?
Yeah, I'll say more of what y'all have been saying. I think the scene with Kira finding her idol was 10 out of 10, no notes, and that's got to be worthy of some Oscar or some sort of Academy Award of some kind, because that was a fantastic scene. And to be quite honest, we got a whole bunch of content that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten had we not done a 2-day season. So I'm really thankful to be a part of this and to have all this fun extra content that we did. Kira's scene stands out, and like y'all were saying, Vincent's confessional stands out. He sees himself as a bit of a puppet master, and it remains to be seen how that will continue to unfold in this game. But yeah, no, it's a very exciting stage. It's a whole new day.
Yeah. And I do like how they actually used the iPad as well during the night and like part of the day as well.
Yeah, unlike last season where it was only Joey, people were actually kind enough to use the iPad. So thank you.
Yeah, and it was fun seeing all the pictures and stuff with the dummy and all the fun stuff.
Well, I mean, I'm playing season 10, but I'm gonna bring this bitch with me and film during the night anyways. I'll be like, fuckers can eat my ass. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna bring it and film it. I'll do a selfie during the night if I somehow make it through. So
that'll make good content.
Better. If not, I'm gonna make it.
Right.
Anyways,
we just go right into the beginning of
day 2.
Yeah, after the morning stuff. Wait, what?
Well, by Will, who are we talking about here?
You can't just leave it at that. Oh, that's amazing.
Well, who are we talking about here? That's okay. That's a big. I was about to save this for later, but that's a bigger like boom than that. Because we move on to morning 2, and immediately, boom, there's a tribe swap. That's not as big of a boom now because Will's was actually a lot better. I'll give him that. Like, holy shit. I'm more so just like, damn.
What a segue to the beginning of round 4 now. But yeah, I'll kick it off here. So after the morning sequence, we get to see both tribes outside. I loved, the filming at night wasn't the best. We can all see that, but the day filming, was amazing. I love day filming.
We should just had a generator outside with like a lighter or something.
Yeah, we should have a big ass light in the room because but no, I just loved the day filming. It looked so good. But yeah, we get to see both tribes and Devin kind of introducing then just kind of bouncing off like, oh yeah, how's your night, and then we get the huge twist as, oh, we're getting a tribe swap now.
Tribe swap on day 2, which if people do pay attention, a lot of the times we've only had 3 prior day 2 season or 2-day seasons in the past. The last 2 or 2 of the 3 were filmed. The last 2 being Blood vs. Water and Legends, both of which had a tribe swap on day 2. Pretty notable there, which, as I always say, go watch our past seasons, go watch the episode we're talking about now, go watch it, have fun. I've heard a lot of fun
talk.
Watch
I actually fans versus favorites.
What?
Go watch fans versus favorites. That's a good season.
Actually, I was about to actually make a joke about that because someone actually told me the other day that it was someone we recently had on as a guest a few weeks ago. Recently told me that they actually watched fans versus favorites and that they were like, "You got robbed," and I'm like, does no one think Corey deserved this win without saying I got robbed? Like, I thought Corey deserved this win, but I was kind of surprised because I still get told that 4.5 years later. So I'm kind of like, holy fuck. I'm getting fucked over next time I play anyway, so I might as well just have fun and talk about it. But yeah, so go watch our past seasons. Fans versus favorites is a fun one. Legends is a fun one.
Yeah, do your research. If you're gonna be playing in these next couple of seasons, watch the 2-day seasons if you're gonna be playing in these next 2 days. Yeah. It's really good study of how you want to play the game, kind of.
Well, regardless of whether or not you're playing, it's fun to kind of just watch past seasons, see where everything started, some big names that could or could not be back in the future. You never know who's going to be back. All because some people say maybe some people won't come back doesn't mean they'll never be back. I know Christian said after Legends he was never going to come back. Where are you pointing at?
Is it not on your camera pointing at you?
No.
I'll point at you this way.
Yeah, I think it's because the camera reflects the wrong way.
I have on the TV too to make sure that I don't look stupid on screen, and you're pointing at the wall.
No, it's fine.
This way, that way.
But let's go back to round 4 stuff.
Yeah, so we do get so just go watch past episodes. That's our point. They're fun episodes, fun stuff. Go watch the past episode if you haven't already. So we get to the tribe swap. Everyone's kind of mixed up around. On the new tribe, Liko, wearing teal, we got Will, Nick, Kayla, Amelia, Kira, and Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
On the new tribe, Koa, we get Dan, Amelia, Ben, Maris, Dick, and Maddie. And then, which I do think on
Maddie. Instead of Amelia.
Yeah.
Did I say Amelia twice? Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Which I do think, I do think that's a pretty interesting combination because in one tribe, you have Nick and Amelia, who realistically, you would think on first glance, like, oh, they're probably screwed because if they're going to stick loyal, which even as we see later on, the original tribe, Liko, was seen as like kumbaya. But then you get to the new tribe, Koa, which is literally a split 3-3 of the original tribe. So if that does end up happening, you never know. But
I do
want to step up the swap before we get to the challenge.
Yeah, I do love the swap. I feel like it's a really balanced tribe swap. And yeah, I'm really hyped about that. So, Steib, want to add anything?
No, I agree with y'all. I think the tribes are balanced pretty well, and it opens up a lot of different avenues for some of these players that might have felt stuck towards the bottom of their original shuffle of their tribes. So it's fun to keep the castaways on their toes and to switch things up when appropriate.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like I've said with swaps. I think I said this during Con versus Chaos because that was one of the few seasons we didn't have a swap. That as much as I do think not having a swap kind of can shake things up in a similar way. I do think a tribe swap shakes things up in a good way because then it kind of keeps people, like you said, Steib, on their toes, and to make sure that people aren't like just like if you're on the bomb, at least gives you an opportunity to like have another chance. If you fuck it up, then so be it. Like borderline, kind of like Andy and Captain's Curse, as he was actually referenced a couple times this episode later on about how Andy basically got a swap given to him, had an opportunity to basically save himself, and then nope, he didn't want to. I'm sorry. Anyways, I think we should just get to the challenge, right? This challenge is a fun one. For swaps, yeah, that's funny. Will actually. For the challenge, it's one that was called Seal the Bacon. We've kind of had this variance, and I don't want to say like a variance. We've had like certain challenges similar to this in the past. I know I did this actually when I did the challenge a few years ago. I know right after I got voted off in Midwestern Survivors, I did this challenge, and I just missed it. And I was so pissed because this is a challenge that I would love to play. Well, it's fun, but essentially one person from each tribe runs out to the middle to grab a rope. They have to pull it, try to get it themselves and the rope on their tribe mat. First person to do so gets a point for their tribe. First to X amount of points wins immunity for their tribe. And this is a fun challenge. I do love that there are more physical challenges involved. I do think this should be, like I said, I always think it's a great balance. I do think it's a great balance to kind of have a really lot of like some physical challenges, some not so physical challenges. I always say it's a great mix. This is a challenge that I actually like. I'm not even kidding. When I did do this challenge and the challenge, like again, because like you see this challenge maybe in some Survivor seasons, some challenge seasons, some even like possibly some like I mean I won't be surprised if it's in some like Big Brother season to be honest. But like it's such a fun challenge because you just really see raw physicality from it. And it, as we kind of see tonight, it really can come down to a lot of things. It can come down to speed. It can come down to just pure strength and endurance. You never know what it's going to come down to. So I think this specific challenge was so much fun to watch play out. So before we get to who wins, Aleks, Steib, what do you guys have to say?
I feel like this is the perfect challenge to start the day off of. You know, you get the blood pumping early, you get people awake pretty damn fast. And as we saw in the challenges, all these like 1v1s were pretty damn even. Like you had the most iconic one being Will and Dick, but you also have ones like Addie and Amelia. You have ones like Vincent and Ben going twice and kind of having to be a really tough matchup. So again, it's a very fun challenge when you have a kind of balance of tribes. And I was just so happy that they were balanced tribes because like it'd be kind of unfair if they weren't balanced tribes. But yeah, it was just so fun to watch, and just filming it, I was just like grinning, just because like it was like the most like intense and like crazy start to the day I've ever seen in a Survivor game like
the
that.
Vincent and Ben one was really fun at the start too.
Oh yeah.
The Vincent and Ben one was just such a fun one at the start as well. Just like and how aggressive like everyone got aggressive, and this is a fun challenge to watch play out. I definitely know that like if I ever did this challenge again, would I win? Probably. But would I want to do this specific one again? I don't know, because I feel like I would just get like in my head before it. But you know, I could probably knock some sense into someone. I don't know. Steib, what do you think?
Yeah, as a member of production and as a fan of the game of Survivor, I love physical challenges like these, and I would certainly love to perhaps one day partake in one of them. However, I do not envy these competitors whatsoever, because you've got to remember these people were probably sleeping in at the worst, sleeping in sleeping bags on like hardwood floor with minimal blankets and stuff. Like these people are pretty tired. They probably slept like 4 hours ish, like max the night before, because if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure on the first night a lot of us were up until like 2:30 a.m. just chatting it up or whatever. But these people are exhausted. These people are not sleeping right. You know, I can't relate to that. Us production members, we had very comfortable beds. We were sleeping pretty. But yeah, no, it's a very physical challenge, and I loved it.
I will say this right now too. Like when I did Midwestern Survivors a couple months ago, I actually no joke. Some people know, some people don't. I didn't even get 4 hours of sleep. I don't even think I got 30 minutes of sleep when I did it because it was just so cold. And like the fact that they made him do this challenge, not right after it was like the second challenge I think we did of day 2. The fact that they did like, it's an intense challenge to wake up from. So it's like it's like getting 30 minutes of sleep and kind of being in that spot. Even when I did Legends, we kind of like, granted we had like comfier floors, more luxuries with that when I did Legends and we did a 2-day game. But yeah, it was very fun. It's very fun, but like same time, it's like not having that kind of comfort in a game. It can definitely kind of like fuck you up sleep wise, get you thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm so tired. It wears you down a lot more than you think it does. So I mean, I will 100% say like starting off with a very physical challenge like this is just, it's good. I think it's very interesting. So is there anything else we want to say about this challenge before we move on?
I just hope that they bring it back for another returning season because that was just so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, no, we had to bring. I would love to see this on like a newbie season. To be honest,
yeah, it's a challenge that needs to come back for like season 11 or 12, just because it's just so fun to watch.
I think it'd be really
Agreed.
fun to do
Like that would be like the first challenge of the day.
Honestly, that would actually be really fun if it was the first challenge of the day, just to get people like the blood boiling and kind of have to feel like right. Like
we're having some debates about the air conditioner in the chat. Hell yeah.
All right, I think
what temperature do you sleep at?
Me, I have to be fucking cold, or I will sweat my ass off during the night. It is bad.
Yeah, same. I prefer the cold.
I will sweat really bad throughout the night. It's like I have to be like really cold. So like, I have to be like really cool or at least semi-cool. So, I think we should just talk about the immunity challenge results before we accidentally spoil it, like we did a couple weeks ago. I will say, fun challenge. It ended up being won by Tribe Lico. New Tribe Lico is safe. And I think it's really interesting. I think it really just was such a good result for the episode because of the fact that with Amelia and Nick, I mean, they're two people that I was really excited to see coming into the season, and that they both borderline seem swap screwed right now. It really just feels really good that there's a chance that there's a better chance that like at least one of them could possibly make the merge if they play their cards right. You never know. But Tribe Koa, third time in a row, now with a new tribe, they're going to tribal council.
Yeah, catch a break.
Yeah, they just could not catch a break.
No.
Tisk.
Which we'll see what they. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like the minute I start, you're gonna start. Okay. Anything you guys have to say before we move on from this to the camps?
I don't think anything interesting happened after the challenge, really.
Yeah, I think this was a very good challenge win for a lot of these competitors. I think a couple people stand out. I think Vincent gave it his all in this challenge in both matchups with Ben, especially that last one that ended up being the deciding point where he just goes face first into that towel. Like, that was brutal to watch. And I got to say, I got to throw out an honorable mention, of course, to Team Steib member Kayla, because she used her speed to her advantage and she was undefeated in that challenge. So yeah, shout out to her as well. But yeah, it was a pretty easy win for Lico. I think it was only like 6-2, correct, right?
Yeah, honestly, like speed is a massive important thing in this game. Like when I've seen this challenge play out, like when I've been someone that's participated in this challenge before and seen it twice now, like speed is massively important. If you're the first one that can get to that, that is just as important as having the physical strength to like pull yourself away from your opponent. Like, again, I do agree with this. This is such a fun challenge. I would love to see back.
Absolutely. And yeah, whether it's something like speed or like your strategy of like disarming your opponent and trying to snag the rope away from them, or as we saw with Dick and with Will, just a pure battle of endurance and like trying to outpower each other. There might have been a little slight controversy according to Dick about like the rules of like the out of bounds and whether it was dead or whatever, but it was a very fun challenge to watch.
Well, I think it's kind of funny, you know, because like it seems like we've had a lot of COA members bitch about out of bounds, like last episode with Ben. So I mean,
yeah, but I do feel bad for Vincent because the first run with him and Ben literally stood on his hand right when he grabbed the rope, and then he gets face planted on the last point.
Yeah, honestly, God. Right, no, it looks painful. And like I said, it's fun to watch these like physical challenges come up. But then when it gets to that point where like people are like, what the, like they're like, I don't want to say like getting hurt, but at the same time, it's like, it's fun, you know? Like I love these physical challenges. It almost kind of reminds me of this challenge that in Legends where we had to kind of like, it was a weird challenge. Like I would definitely say go watch it because I'm probably going to fuck up the explanation where we had to like, get balls from the middle, and yes, haha, I said balls. Chat go crazy. We had 4 balls in the middle. We had to get like all 4 back, and then our tribe to do that first got a point, but then the other tribe could steal the ball and like put it back in the middle. It's definitely very like, I mean, it borderline almost kind of reminded me of that with how physical people were getting, because that's the last time I think I saw people get like that physical in a challenge. Well, besides
Summer Solstice,
what?
Someone, my season,
I was about to say, besides that,
totally taken an arm.
Well, I know when we did it in I was about to say you guys in or when I did this challenge in Legends, I was just referring to like, I thought Jake said his hand got fractured or almost got fractured because of that challenge. I was puking my guts out, and that's why I dropped out of the challenge at that point because I'm like, I'm not puking on camera. There was like 3 other people who I think got injured or almost got injured. It was like about so many people that dropped out because it was just so physically violent that like they kept referencing that, and like the episode today. We're like, no punching someone, and I'm like, anyways.
All right.
Yeah. Let's just keep going because I'm taking too long. I'm ranting again. Sorry. Liko. Basically, we go to Tribe Liko, which I think was really fun to watch because we finally get to see a lot of Amelia finally popping. I almost feel like this is kind of a breakout episode for her so far this season, where she's getting a lot of content talking about how her game wasn't Captain's Curse, how she kind of outed her boyfriend for having an idol without knowing what an idol was, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought Andy was Addie's boyfriend until like Second Chance. So when I found it out that he's Amelia's boyfriend, I was like, oh wow, okay, I was like, I missed a lot. Anyways, we do get Nick talking a lot of game with Kira at one point where they're trying to solidify stuff, which I do think could possibly help. Like Amelia seems to be getting decently well with people, at least trying to get in well with people from a social angle. Nick's trying to get his way in strategically, which is good for Nick that he is able so far seemingly able to play into the group and kind of integrate himself well. They both seem like they are. And then I think kind of the rest of their content is kind of just talking about who do you think is going to vote off, which I believe they predict is Addie. But there's probably stuff I'm missing if you guys want to talk about that. I think it's very brief.
Yeah, I forgot one thing during the warning sequence, Dick finding his safety without power.
Yes. Yeah, actually, we could probably talk about that because it kind of, I mean, Vince is on this tribe anyway, so I mean, I can workshop into that.
Yeah, if you just want to go and attack it right now.
Yeah, so I thought last week he mentioned he was going to tell Will last week. I forgot it was Vincent. Dick was trying to talk to you about it, and he was like talking to Vince about it. And I think Dick, I was calling him Richard. Dick found out. I think it's safety without power, I think is what it was. So it's good Vincent or Vince may have some of this knowledge, may not. I think he's aware Dick has this advantage in the game. And Dick even talks about it later on that he's trying to communicate this with Vince and that he's trying to figure everything out. So, I mean,
I'm pretty sure from my knowledge, he talked with him
on the way to the challenge, right? Before the swap.
He talked with him at night about it because he found it at night and then he talked with him about it because
Well, I thought he said he tried
activate it, he has to
because he couldn't get a moment alone with him.
To activate the thing, he had to tell somebody
Right.
about the advantage. So he talked to Vince about that. So Vince knows that he has the safety without power.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything you guys want to talk about with Liko? Or because I kind of feel like even though they had a lot of good content, they felt like it was kind of borderline.
I found it funny how Nick was trying to play off like he didn't know that Annika had the idol, and then we see it kind of get blown up in his face because Ben told everybody that I think Nick knew that she had the idol. So then we get like a flashback and yeah.
I do think it's interesting that I just want to call this out too with Vince. I think is really good gameplay with Vince is that Vince is kind of using kind of like his past knowledge of Ben in the game to talk about how when like Ben has an idol, he usually is quiet about it. But then when he has a fake one, he tries to blow it up to make it look like he'll go like, play it or whatever to freak people out, which I do think is very good strategy, kind of a good strategy on Ben's part. I've seen it work in a lot of past seasons we've done. I think it's really great strategy that Vince is calling Ben out for this. Whether or not this knowledge pays off for Vince in the future, maybe it will, maybe it won't. You don't really know. We know, but you don't.
Yeah, I do like how this season we see a lot more strategy going into alliances and stuff like that. It's not just like first impression stuff. It's more like, do I really want to be with this person come end? So I do like how there's a lot more strategy being talked about with players on the opposite side of the tribes. So just, food for thought. But yeah, Steib, want to talk?
Yeah, I was about to hand it off to Steib, but okay.
Yeah, no, I think y'all covered practically everything we needed to cover pre-tribal from Liko. A lot of these people are sitting in good positions, and they're continuing to build new relationships after this little tribe swap. So they're trying to predict who's going to go from the new Koa, and a lot of them are thinking Addy. And I don't know. I think we should continue on talking about Addy and the rest of Koa.
Yeah. All right, we guys took my transition away from me. Yeah, let's go to Tribe Koa then. Tribe Koa, it's borderline. I don't want to call it complete chaos because I wouldn't say it's too chaotic. I'll kind of summarize it, then we could get more into depth. The big key summarizing points for, you could call it like the spark notes for this tribe before tribal right now, is that it comes down to a lot of names being thrown out there. Addie's kind of said at this point that she doesn't mind getting voted off, but that she is having fun in the game, kind of wants to stick around. You can kind of see it's a bit of a toll with Ben, Dan, and Addie having to go to the tribal after tribal to now a third tribal in a row. Everyone kind of starts talking about Addie and being like, well, let's just vote Addie off. However, there's a plan that I think Dan and Ben briefly discussed about getting rid of Maddie to try to get talk from Dick about what Maddie was doing and all that. I know Maris is pretty insulated well. I mean, I'm probably forgetting some stuff, so I'm going to pass off to you guys.
Yes, I want to tackle this one as well.
Yeah. Koa's at an interesting point right now, and they're left with a pretty it seems like a pretty easy decision for them because, I mean, when this original cast was revealed, it was pretty obvious that there were only two people from season 5, Captain's Curse. And you've got to imagine that when you don't have too many close relationships right at the beginning of the game, if you find yourself going to tribal council, you might be an easy target just because you're one of the lesser known folks. And it's unfortunate that might exactly be Addie's fate tonight. What do y'all got to say?
Yeah, I'll bounce off you. So going off it, yeah, there's 3 names being thrown out: Addie, Ben, and Maddie. And I do find it how like people kind of know it's like a default like vote off, but there's still a lot of talking going on about like, is Ben someone we want to take further? Is Maddie someone we want to get out now? So it's not really like an easy vote right now. People are still kind of planning on like when's the right time to strike these people.
I kind of feel like it's slightly like they know. I feel like it came off to me like they know they want to vote off Addie, but it's more of they're almost trying to think of who do I go for after Addie though. Like they're starting to kind of plan ahead, as we even see right before tribal. Dick and Maris are kind of talking about getting rid of Ben if they have to go to another tribal again, which kind of spells worry for, is Ben going to make it out, or is my premonition going to come true for him? Who really knows? But like, Ben's having a time of his life, just like causing chaos, making alliances for everyone. I know at one point he does tell Maddie about his advantage being the shot in the dark, which we'll get to later on because it is very relevant this episode. But
yeah, and I find it kind of interesting that Ben really wants Dick out this episode, but just has to go default with Addie because he, of course, probably doesn't really have the numbers to sway the vote really, which he probably could have gotten the votes to go for Dick, but like again, it's a big move, a big kind of a risky move that early on to kind of strike at the former Alico member, which kind of could cause a big divide in those two tribe alliances, even though people aren't really tied to these tribe alliances really. And I just and then trying to think of what else. But I do find it interesting how Maris somehow just kind of comes off like scotch-free, even though like she's kind of in the minority on this tribe, but she just comes in and just kind of aligns with Ben and Dan for his vote and just kind of coasts through this one.
Right, and I do think it's very interesting that Maris is definitely like seemingly the most insulated within the group so far, despite the fact that people would possibly consider Maris like, would she be the most insulated, not coming into this tribe swap? But I mean, even to the point where like everyone's talking to Maris, no one's saying Maris's name. Maris is pretty decently insulated, which I mean, at least to me, says a lot. And even people are talking about like, hey, like for the next vote as well, what do you want to do? Which I do think spells a lot of good stuff to kind of like Maris to think like, oh, like I'm pretty insulated well. And Reese even talked with Dick and Maris talking about a potential double tribal, with Maris even joking about how she got voted off last in New Blood by a double tribal. I do think it was very interesting that Dick and Maris are kind of talking about like, what if there is a double tribal at this point, which you never know, could very much well happen. You never know if there is or isn't. I mean, especially with Dick's season, there were multiple double tribals, so I wouldn't really hold it past them to be concerned if there is or is not one. To always be prepared, better safe than sorry. Although, I don't know, if I thought Dick meant like a tribal stage double tribal, but it almost sounded like he thought it was like individual stage, which I don't know how they were referring it to, but I do think that talk was very interesting from the both of them.
Yeah. I also found it interesting how Maddie and Ben both discussed their advantages and idols. Because when Maddie comes into this tribe, she just instantly kind of aligns with Ben just because of past season relations, and like it was pretty interesting how she's the only person who told Ben about her advantage, and it's just kind of interesting to see that because she didn't tell anybody on her old tribe about that. But when she gets swapped, she goes right to Ben and tells him right after the challenge, like, "Hey, after Ben told, I think Maddie told Ben first, and then Ben told Maddie about his shot in the dark thing." So I found it interesting how that all worked out, and like how she only told Ben about this. So.
Well, and I'm kind of surprised that Ben is so quick to trust her again, considering how the end of New Blood, he was basically like, holy shit, Maddie, you screwed me over type of deal. And now he's kind of going right back to her, which obviously, I mean, there's been time since New Blood, obviously. Time heals all wounds. But I'm just kind of surprised that Ben is so quick to trust Maddie again in this game, which I honestly would even credit to the fact that even though Maddie's name was getting thrown out a lot this round, to where even she's basically the decoy vote to Addie, Maddie's insulated herself so well with other people that even though they know she's a social threat, she still stays after this episode. So it's more of like,
it's just deja vu from New Blood, really.
Right. Yeah, I'm just really surprised at the fact that like Maddie again is insulating herself very well despite being kind of the decoy vote. So it's kind of like I predicted. Maddie was either going to go out super fast, or she was just going to start insulating herself well. Whether or not she's able to go far and fully get my prediction right, who really knows? But I don't know. I think it's interesting. So, is there anything big we really want to talk about?
Maybe just highlighting Dan's comment. I feel like
Oh yeah, Dan's confessional.
Dick being part of like, was he part of the double, or like the?
Oh, the comment right now.
Yeah, I think Dick was part of like some kind of like double tribal thing where it was like both tribes had to go to tribal.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I was talking about.
it's just like like past paranoia coming into play with that one.
Right. Well, Dan was a part of it
as
too.
well. But yeah, like who knows really? Who knows when a double could just be around the corner. So it's good to plan in advance for that. But yeah.
Yeah, I do know Dan had some funny content, and we get to again hear more from Dan, which I do think was really good. I do think it was really, he had a fun character moment as well because of the fact that like he basically borderline calls co-op killed on arrival, which I really like that. I thought that was pretty fun right there.
Right there, title of the episode right there as well.
Right, it's like that's gonna be borderline me next season. Killed on arrival.
Give Dan a trophy.
Huh?
Episode title.
Right.
I said give Dan a trophy. Episode title of.
Right. So, I mean, I thought that was really fun. I mean, Dan borderline, you can kind of tell, like, Dan's sick of carrying Addie. He basically kind of says, like, I'm done carrying, not in those exact words, but you can kind of tell he's done kind of carrying Addie around in the game as he kind of, I feel like it's borderline kind of seen as if he doesn't want to take Addie any further because it's more, and you even see, I think it was Ben at one point was talking about how if they just keep letting Addie go round after round, then everyone's going to be freaking out about, like, oh, like she's gonna get to the end, and then take a spot and blah 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 blah, which I do think is a very good concern, because that's the same mindset I would have, and I'm kind of surprised it took people this long to figure that out. That it's like, hey, like maybe you should vote off the person that everyone wants to drag to the end as a GOAT, because guess what? Even if it's a stupid move, it at least opens up a spot for more. Like it opens up more of a possibility for you getting to the end. So, I don't know. I'm going to pass off to one of you guys if there's anything else you two want to talk about before we go to Tribal, because I kind of feel like this is borderline a mostly straightforward episode.
Yeah. No, I just feel like, Dan and Ben did a really good job with kind of getting the numbers on their side, even though it was a kind of a straightforward vote. Like, it was still interesting kind of seeing them kind of orchestrate this kind of like, grabbing the people from both Lico and then getting them to vote for Addie. So gotta give props to that,
Yeah. Steib, when do you want to join in? It's been a while since you said something.
Yeah, no. I think we've covered practically everything there was to cover. Other than shout out to Addie, of course, for being very entertaining in her final minutes before getting potentially voted out in this game. She was very hilarious this entire game. I can't put it into words and I can't act it out myself. If you haven't seen her and her several times that she said, I don't know, or whatever in her delivery, and like she is an absolute character and we're so glad she came back. That's really all I gotta say.
Borderline reminded me of like Courtney Yates throughout like half this episode in like the funniest way. Like, and Courtney is actually one of my many favorite players. But yeah, no, Addie was kind of giving Courtney Yates in like the funniest way. So actually, Amelia and Addie, I know, have started watching Survivor finally. So Amelia, Addie, if you're watching, go watch Survivor China. Yeah, I think Addie would love Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, Devin should have done like an I don't know counter on right of the screen or just for this episode, because she said it a lot, and like it's fine if you don't want to really want to put out a name out there, but like you've got to put out a name if your name is being said. But
100%, yeah. Like I will say this too. Like if you're the one not saying a name, you're basically fucking yourself over. Like, and I mean, I kind of been on multiple ends of the spectrum, both seeing, watching, participating, whatever. Like if you're not saying, if you're going too aggressive with names, you're gonna be a target. If you don't say anything at all, you're gonna be a target. Like. So it's kind of, I don't know. Okay, did recently watch China? I have to talk to them about that thing because I haven't talked to Amelia in like a couple days or a week or something. So, all right. Anything we want to talk about before we go to Tribal or?
I don't think so. I think we're ready for Tribal.
Going twice. Sold. We're going to Tribal. Oh, fuck. I fucked up my laptop. Okay, there we go. Thank God. Thank Christ. Anyways. Yeah, so we get to Tribal Council. there's kind of, I think, some decently funny moments. Like, people are kind of having fun at Tribal, at least more fun than they were on like night one with their answers. They're kind of in the game, so they're not afraid to at least kind of give a little bit of like spunk to their answers, for lack of a better word. But I mean, I kind of feel like a Tribal where they're kind of just more so not like full on straightforward, but I don't feel like there's too much to talk about before. I mean, I know when their votes are kind of fun to think about, but I mean, I think Maddie's was very interesting, where she kind of writes. I think Maddie did some where she wrote her own name and then cross off the M. Well, I mean, which to cause, whether it's to cause paranoia or just get a reaction or just for fun, I thought it was creative. You could really market that in a lot of ways, but I mean, yeah. Anything we want to talk about before we get to the vote?
Just about, Dan said, killed on arrival again, at Tribal, so, funny. And then, Dick going in more about, being out of bounds in the challenge. And then, yeah, it was just, a lot of close to the chest talk, like, didn't want to give out too much.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's the right thing to do at this point, because obviously you don't want to be like that guy or girl. You want to be that person saying like all this shit at Tribal Council at a swap. Like, you don't want to. I mean, you have to start a game. Like, if your ass is on the line, maybe at Merge you do, but like, I don't know. That's what live Tribals are for, I guess. Steib, what do you think of this Tribal before we reveal the vote off?
Yeah, a lot of strong players here are sitting here conducting the game, and they're happy that, it's not them in the hot seat tonight. And yeah, there's a lot of non-answers given, but this vote off is pretty big, and hopefully some tides of change can start hitting the new Koa tribe, because they've been losing for a little too long now.
All right, enough said. I think we're gonna go talk about who we're gonna talk a tiny bit about right now. Fourth person vote off of Survivor Wisconsin, second chance, Addie, which not that much of a shocker. I mean, I feel like it was borderline kind of foreshadowed. I think she almost foreshadowed it herself the entire episode, kind of saying like, oh, I'm kind of done. Like, I wouldn't mind getting voted off, but I'm having fun. Which it was good to see her have a good attitude in her way out as well, saying that, like, I made it further in last time, and kind of being happy with it. Addie does have a shot to get back in the game alongside Annika, Joey, and Jamil. Whether or not they do get back in the game or someone else does, we have yet to find out. Or maybe it could be one of those four. You don't know. We know, but you guys don't. You guys have yet to find out. So Addie, unfortunately, is currently out of the game, but does have a shot to get back in. I do think this kind of feels somewhat right about the game, but I almost feel like I think it really depends on if the new tribe Koa is thinking along original tribal lines, Dan and Ben are fucked. And if they're not, they have a chance. But I mean, considering how you kind of already have Maris and Dick talking about getting rid of Ben, who really knows? I mean, Dan's safe possibly. But we do also, I did forget to mention this too, Ben did play his shot in the dark. Basically, it didn't really work, didn't do anything, and as a result, nothing really came up of it. But Ben did play it. I do think it was really interesting to see this in the game. I do like that it was something that had to be used pre-merge, and that it wasn't taking your vote. Because that's one of the things I don't like about the shot in the dark in CBS Survivor is that, like, it's taking away your votes. Jeff is obsessed. Jeff is as obsessed with taking away people's votes in Survivor as much as he's obsessed with staying in Fiji and doing the same things over and over and over, because he's more autistic than I am, but that's a different story. What's I saying?
But yeah, for the shot in the dark advantage, I find it a good addition to the series. Like, it's a good little like 1 in 6 shot of immunity, even though you're not risking you're never seeing any vote at all. You're like, it's just a secret advantage that you find. And Ben playing it there, it's interesting. Like, his name was not on the chopping block at all, and he's putting hope that they win the next immunity challenge. So it gives it gives the tribe more motivation, and like, hey, what, tribe morale, that's really all you need.
Well, and And I do really like the fact that it expires at the merge, kind of mean like you have to use it pre-merge. Because we have seen a lot of seasons where people get an advantage right off the bat, and then they hold on to it the entire game, and then they maybe use it at like 5 or 6 or maybe 7. So I kind of like that, how we were all able to incorporate it, because we were all talking about it beforehand as well. Like, I do like we were able to make it so it's this pre-merge thing where someone has to kind of use it earlier and can't just like hold on to it and just maybe go out with it in your pocket. Well, you could go out with your pocket pre-merge, but at least there's a higher chance of it at least getting news, or at least kind of like looking like something fun to talk about early on. I think even last season, I feel like we kind of, for most of the season, people were just kind of had advantages and didn't really use them until like borderline they had to be used. Whereas this time around, at least now people are kind of getting more like, I have this, how can I use it to my advantage? So, Steib, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think this was a pretty safe move by everybody else remaining in the game to get Addie out. It is unfortunate, but like you said, she was very happy to have competed, and she had a great time, and she was very entertaining while doing it. And she gave us plenty of good sound bites, like all those I don't knows, or Shannon with the fuck ass Bob. Like I'm so happy that Addie came back. And hey, the battle back is still around. Who knows how that will go? And now it's interesting because now all 3 of the early birds, at least one of our picks is now out. So that's going to make an interesting battle back. We're going to be fighting each other. Hopefully our picks get back in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I do want to say that, like, I do also think it's kind of funny that Addie was borderline. Like, I mean, Halloween may have been 2 weeks ago, but Addie was borderline cosplaying Rudy Boish with how much she kept saying, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
But I will say she went to the gas station and got a good pack of cigarettes. So you know what? She was happy. She was probably happy as hell after getting voted out there.
Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. I had something funny.
Do you want to do player of the episode?
Yeah, let's move on. I was about to say let's move on now. Player of the episode. I think it could be varying for some of us because I do feel like
I think it is.
I think I'm definitely gonna go. I'm gonna kind of go into depth for the first because there kind of came down to 2 people for me who I feel like are very insulated well for the next couple episodes. And I personally, my player of the episode is going to be probably a pick maybe someone would be surprised at. I'm going to say Maris. I do feel like Maris being the only person, she was heavily involved in a lot of the strategy, but her name was one of the only 2 that was not thrown out. And if they are going to rely, we obviously, it looks like there's a chance it could go down to original tribal lines with how they're immediately talking about who they want to get out after if they have to go to tribal. Again, Maris is like learning from last time as she's prepping and like, hey, if this happens again, let's just think of an immediate person to get rid of now. Like, Maris is definitely thinking through her options. She's thinking ahead. She clearly learned from New Blood. And so, I mean, and Maris is very well insulated. Again, one of the only few people whose names was not thrown out in any way, shape, or form. So, Maris is my pick. Aleks, I'm passing off to you.
Yeah. I was also between 2 people, Dan and Kira. Dan because being the title of the episode and having such a funny line, and then also kind of being in the middle of this new Koa tribe and kind of controlling the vote, and then Kira for her amazing idol find with the commentary and everything like that. Just all put together was just absolute cinema, So.
Who are you, Rizzo?
What?
Who are you, Rizzo? We're talking about cinema?
Yes, absolute cinema. But I really want to go Dan, but Kira's thing was just, yeah. Thanks, Dan. But I just gotta go with Kira. It was so fun to watch that, and I didn't get to see any of that ever. So like, I was just so shocked, like how well put together it was. Yeah, sorry, Dan. Part-time glazer right now. But no, hey, I still give you your flowers. But yeah, I gotta go Kira with this one.
All right. Well, those are 2 fine choices for player of the episode, gentlemen. And I'll go ahead and pick a different one. I will say, of course, an honorable mention does go to Kira. I've been waiting to see that scene back, and it did not disappoint. It was fantastic. Shout out to Devin for editing it all together and making it look great. But I feel like my player of the episode is going to go to somebody who played pretty well in this physical challenge that we had. And arguably you could throw out like 7 more honorable mentions for everybody like trying their best in such a physical challenge. But this person put their body on the line and they were able to get the securing victory point. I'm going to give my player of the episode to Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you, Steib.
So a kind of different people is what it sounds like. Not even close to a clean sweep. I don't think we've had it since like last season, to be honest.
I think so. Yeah, it's been a while since
we swept in episode 1 with Maris.
Yeah, and then
that's it.
And then everything else went downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not relatable lately. All right, let's talk now. I think we should just go right into viewer questions.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys send in your questions for us while I try to look in a couple stuff for later on. So I'm just going to give it like 10 seconds while we get some fan questions in from you guys. You can ask us anything about this season up to this current point that's aired, as well as past seasons and everything in between. So you can even ask, some fun stuff if you want to like quiz me on like what I think of for the future. I don't know.
Yeah, stay tuned because we still have a sneak peek for next episode.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say the sneak peek unless we get at least like 5-10 questions. So
that's a long stretch.
5
to 10 questions.
Well, I didn't say 2 other numbers I know you were gonna react to, so you're like a child. All right, come on, guys, give us some questions.
There you go.
Gosh, damn it! Look at this. He is brain rotted. He's been like this.
Oh, I am.
See, now look what the fuck you did. Look what the hell you did.
Yeah, Dan.
I need to take away his keyboard privileges. Chat, comment if I should take away Alex's keyboard privileges.
My Instagram, my Snapchat, it's had 6-7 since the beginning. I'm just ahead of the curve.
Nick says, what are some other mashups you guys would have liked to see in the challenge? Will versus Dan, for example. Oh yeah, I'm assuming like the one from tonight. For the challenge was in tonight's episode.
I think Maddie and Kira would be a fun matchup.
That'd be a fun matchup. I'm trying to think of some. I mean, if Annika would have made it to day 2, I think Annika versus Maris would have been interesting, or like Annika versus Kira would have been fun. I'm trying to think.
Ben versus Nick.
Ben and Will.
Right. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. And Vincent would have been a good one as well.
Jamil and Dan.
Corey versus
Jamil and Dan. Yes.
Jamil and Dan.
And the beef right there.
Corey versus Michael. Past players, but I think
there would have been
fun.
a lot of good matchups as well in that. But that's all done on that one. He made the matchups. He was in control on that one. But again, hey, we got a lot of good content out of that one. So, got a good props to head up on that one. Got a lot of good content.
We do got another question from Dan. In honor of Addy, what are each of your favorite Addy quotes? I don't know.
There's like 2 of them.
Shannon with the fuck ass Bob.
Yeah, Shannon with the fuck ass Bob was actually because actually for weeks I thought she was talking about Shannon from Survivor 49, and then when I found out last week that it wasn't, and then I was like, for months I went thinking that, so it was funny.
I think episode 2 when she got like the first 2 votes, like, wait, what?
That was pretty good. That was a good reaction.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah, we didn't understand it in episode 2 when we thought, oh wow, I don't know. That's a pretty basic title for episode 2. But then in episode 3, she just turned it up to 11, and it was just so fucking hilarious. Chad was blowing up saying they were dying, and Addie is a very memorable character.
Oh yeah.
Next question. Who was the most pathetic in Seal the Bacon, and why was it Dan? That's
good question, Dan.
So,
self-burn.
Yeah, that's my job. Hey, what the fuck? That's my job. My job.
Don't ruin your laptop.
Yeah, right.
My life's ruined. It's ruined because I have something called student loans.
Trying to think who else was.
Um,
Those were only a lot of pathetic, runs. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a jerk and say anybody. No.
I mean, fuck, I had something for this.
Well,
something
dang, you were right there.
I don't know. Yeah, come on, guys, give us a couple more questions, or else I'm not gonna give you guys a trailer. So it's a juicy one. It's a juicy one.
Which 3 is most likely to pull off the Idol heist? Click on that one.
Oh, is that? Oh, that's
probably me.
Yeah, I would probably see Steib doing that.
I mean, nobody saw me get my Idol in Captain's Curse, so.
Queen Kira. Honestly, I'm gonna sound really narcissistic saying this. I would actually think it would be me, because I would be the one to actually probably overcomplicate and overthink it to that extent to where I would actually do it like that. Like, I actually have the patience to pull shit off like that. I just choose not to.
Yeah,
I don't want to put a target on my back and look fishy, but like, I actually could if I really wanted to. So
yeah, I'm way too tall and lanky that people might have just thought I was like Slender Man.
Yeah.
Well, it's like all you have to really do is make an excuse to go over to that side, and then
yeah, that's true. But like,
there, you're just making it.
Are we crawling to the spot?
Right.
No, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Right, that was such a fun scene. I'm glad that we got that scene. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, come on, guys. Give us a couple more questions. I'm going to. Devin thinks Steib would. Give us a couple more questions, guys. Talk to us about a couple more questions about maybe what we think about future stuff would be fun. Not future of this season, just like future of in general, or like past seasons, what we think, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of thoughts I want to talk about. Come on. All because I'm depressed with low energy doesn't mean you guys have to be. I'm gonna look at the thing to make sure I have it right. Every time I'm about to see a question pop up. We just got 2. Okay. Nick says, are there certain challenges you guys hope to see this season? What are some of your favorites? One of my favorites that I will briefly go over is we've had it a few times before. I don't think we've seen it back since Summer Solstice, where there's like a ball and people have to go grab it, throw it into their tribe's bucket, and then like first tribe to like X amount of points wins immunity. That's such a fun challenge. I did that in Fans vs. Favorites. I think we last saw it in Summer Solstice, as we talked about earlier, where Aaron notoriously dislocated his shoulder in that challenge. I think that was a very fun. I thought that was a fun challenge to be involved in. I really like. What was it? There was another one we did. There was a really fun frisbee one. I actually thought was really unique. I hope would come back sometime in the future. But the one where we had to like stand on one foot and like knock each other. Steib knows what I'm talking about. He's seen this challenge where we had to like knock each other off with those like little bats, and we had to like push each other off. And then they gave me a segment with Eminem. I really did like that. Go watch Fans vs. Favorites actually, because now it's relevant. Not to talk too much about it, but I'm gonna pass off to you guys for a minute while I think of a couple more.
Yeah. Trying to think of my favorite. I didn't really make it far in the merge, so definitely not a lot of good ones. But I might just say I do like different puzzles. Like jigsaw puzzles are good and all for like a quick, easy turnaround in production. But like my favorite puzzle was in Captain's Curse. It was the tree puzzle that we did. And that was really fun to do because like it's a different puzzle, and it's kind of a replica from the show. So I did like that a lot. And I hope we get some more intricate kind of puzzles in the future, and not just like slide puzzles or like jigsaw puzzles. But hey, who knows?
Yeah, some good choices. I'd say I'm one for endurance comps. And I think back to the endurance comp at Final 4 of New Blood with those little triangle inserts and with the wiffle ball, and you got to balance it on one foot. I think that could be a fun one to always bring back. Who knows if we'll see that sometime soon.
Yeah, I wish that we could get like the curved ones with the ball, so it's a lot more harder to balance that. Like Richie has one in his room.
Yeah, let me actually. I know what you're talking about. Let me find.
Like if we could get like 6 of those and have like a final 6 challenge, because that is such a cool challenge. That's like from the show as well. Where you all on that. It's hard, but it's really doable. So, but yeah.
Why does this remind me of the Hellraiser thing? I'm not gonna get into that.
Well, I think let's keep going with
so let me put this back and I'll think of like one more, because there was one I was thinking of. It was on the tip of my tongue and then I lost it, and I'm so pissed at myself for not remembering what the fuck it was. I think it was one in Twit Manor we did, which I actually did think was a pretty cool challenge. We had I think we had to like do this. It was like when like the toilet paper flip roll thing was popular, and then we had to like throw it in the air and catch it on our finger. We had to answer a question about Survivor. I thought there was some other element to it, and then we had to roll a little like ball at like several cans, like bowling, and like knock them all down. I thought that was a unique challenge. I still think I should have won that challenge, but I did throw it and not roll it. So, yeah, I think that was a fun challenge. I'm trying to think of a couple more because I feel like I should be saying.
Let's get to the next question. There's a lot of good questions coming in now.
Dan asks, what do you think about future of in general or past seasons, and what do you... Such a shit ass question, Dan. I swear to God. I know the sarcasm you're asking. The future.
The future is very bright. It's very bright, and I'm really excited for next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely hoping for a lot of good things with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about it. Maybe things stop. Maybe we see different things and different areas you guys wouldn't expect. So stay tuned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, relating to that, Devin had a question about the future of a few seasons from now.
I was about to get to it. I'll get to that. I get to that. The first question he asked, because he's waited this question longer, he said, who from this season do you want joining you in Heroes versus Villains 2, Rich Daddy? And then he says, the most and only one and not 3.
Who do you want the most? Only one.
Yeah, well, that was very interesting clarification, because that just took away my... There's a lot of people I probably would really want to play with. Right now, it'd be Amelia, because I feel like me and Amelia would have so much fun just, like, riding around. Like, I think that'd just be so much fun in the game. Right now, it's Amelia, but, like, I could definitely see maybe stuff could change, but, like, I think Amelia would be so much fun to have as, like, a fellow villain,
I feel like she's a hero. Unironically.
I feel like she's a villain just in terms of like chaos, but it's like a fun chaos.
Yeah.
But Devin also asked, do you guys think All-Star should be season 13 or later?
I have a good talking point on this one, actually, because I was thinking about this while we were talking.
I've been thinking about this. I was actually thinking about this the other night, actually. So, like, I've been thinking about,
I feel like this could be a season 15 All-Stars.
Well, I do think it's back and forth for me because of the fact that, like, obviously, I think 13 is definitely somewhat soon, but you have a higher chance of getting back a lot of these big names from New Blood, Conferences Chaos, who may or may not be on Heroes versus Villains or Second Chance or in between, depending on what happens. There's a higher chance that, like, we get those names, but in the meantime, we do get bigger names and, like, some more fun names in the mix if we push it back a few seasons. But then we also get some people who may get forgotten or lost in a shuffle or the mix of things, or may get cut as an alternate. I think it's definitely back and forth for me, like.
I'm going to go on a rant. I'm trying not rant, yap such for a minute. So for sure, 11 and 12 newbies. 13 could be half newbie, half returnee. 14 could be newbie, and then 15 would be all-stars. That's a lot of potential all-star people playing, and I feel like this would be like a 20% cast because of how many people want to come back and play this game.
Oh, I feel like it would have to be, yeah, like a bigger
Because
cast.
it would be such a fun weekend, and yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Steib, what's your take on this guy?
Yeah, I think it is subject to change, and I think 13 is a good place for it now. I would say I feel like depending on how soon Devin and the crew is wanting to pump out these seasons, and depending on how strong the applicants are, if you haven't already, go apply today or wait until the new year to apply, and then let your friends know as well to be a part of this. But I think it's important to capitalize on the incredible momentum we have in this second half of the year with our last two seasons and our current one. I feel like regardless, All Stars could very well slot in very well at the end of 26. I think it's good to capitalize on that momentum now.
Right. I think definitely capitalizing on momentum is important as well. Like I honestly think like we're definitely gonna have all stars. I think it'd be fun if we ever did if we ever did this idea. I think it'd be fun to do a season where it was like, I don't want to say the opposite of all stars, but like nicher names to kind of give them a chance to like get in the mix. People who just never got
it. The early birds season.
I mean, yeah, like I run a What If channel for Survivor, and I was actually like I think I did like last year where I was like vote on like early names or people who got voted off early to like get like who would you want to see, and it was actually pretty fun to do, except it just was a bitch to go through all the fucking votes alone. But like but no, that'd be a fun, like I could see definitely some like niche names gain a chance to like actually become bigger names. So I mean that'd be fun. But like I have a lot of season ideas.
Right, there could be season 13. Who knows?
Right. I mean, honestly, like, right. Well, yeah, maybe it could be. Yeah, maybe I could be. You never know. You know, like I have a lot of fun ideas. If I ever host again, there's like at least like a dozen ideas I have right now for where I want to.
Like a second chance, but like, or
well, I mean, borderline could be, but like you know, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Devin just said kind of like Last Chance, somewhat like that. Yeah, I do know Last Chance. We had some bigger names at the time. People like I would consider Michael at that time a big name, like Jake and Lita Joe at that time a big name, but something of that sort, kind of but like something of that sort, I guess if I'm making sense.
Yeah, because that would be a good returning season right after 12.
Right. Oh yeah.
My opinion, you know, stuff could change, but yeah.
Right. No, yeah. Like there's definitely like a lot of ideas. Like if I was like, I mean, like honest to God, like if I ever host a Survivor Wisconsin season again, there's already like 8 to 12 ideas I have in my head, like some for returnees, some for newbies, and I already have like top 2 to 3 for like each one I'd want to do, depending on like if it's like half and half, all newbie, all returning. Like I have so many fun ideas. So I'm just gonna move on to the next question, unless you guys want to respond further with this.
I'm good.
Okay, we'll move on. Nix asks, do you guys think there should be a Survivor Wisconsin rivals? Flat out, actually, I will talk briefly about this because I was the one that was involved in this. When after Legends, we did a video, me, Christian, Devin, and Michael did a video talking about what we would love to see as like a future, because this is right before Survivor Wisconsin was confirmed, you know, to continue on from Survivor Whitewater. So like we all talked about like if there was a season 11, what would it be? And that was actually Christian's idea, although like all of us I think were trying to get at the idea at one point, and Christian got to it first, so you know. But that was a pretty fun video. Rivals would be fun. What do you guys think?
Yes. So I was gonna say about rivals, this could totally be like post All Stars, like a season or 2 after All Stars, where it's like we have a bit more rivals. Because like right now there's some like people who actually like would play again. Yeah, I feel like we do have good rivals. It's just like people might not want to play again, because I know like a lot of like Whitewater people are kind of retired at this point. So like if we can kind of like, you know, get more people like newbie seasons and get more rivals like that, that's an option. That's a real option right there.
A fun little announcement for alumni only. For past players, Whitewater in Wisconsin, stay tuned for hopefully a celebration at a bar in January ahead of our 20th overall season to celebrate, and a great opportunity for the cast of 20 to socialize a bit potentially. So what I'm hearing is Heroes versus Villains is 20 people. Good to know. Good to know.
I would clarify you on that, but I don't want
yeah.
to get bitched out again, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut this time.
He's saying 20th overall season, not 20 players, I think.
That's what I would have said. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go down. Ruth says moms, like do a season of moms, because I think she put this comment. We were talking about that before.
I do have a really like insightful idea about this. Have it just be like 10 moms and just have it be like post merge stuff, so it's like all individual stuff and like everybody makes the merge. So like, cause like not a lot of moms would play, I guess. Like who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
Who really knows?
I feel like, you know, given the chance, like we could have like a season like a half season basically for that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, no, honest to God, like I have well she's a mom, but like she's not my mom. Like she's like I think like an aunt or something of mine. And she's like a big Survivor fan, so like I think she would like. I mean, of course, depends if she's in her free for it, but like I would actually. I should have sent the application to her. Why didn't I send the application to her? What the fuck?
But yeah, like I feel like if we do like a half season for that, kind of like have it be like season like.
I mean, like a smaller season,
and a half, where it's like kind of like a gap between like a small game between like our major ones. That'd be kind of fun to see, you know. That'd be so fun to see. But yeah, like now, not really like a whole season.
Well, Borderline almost feels like that.
Between.
Well, it almost feels like that idea. I know I've told you guys this idea in the past, and I have a Google Docs to prove that this idea is mine. Or I had a season idea that was like all relatives of past players, but like it's like Blood versus Water without the returning players. So like, it almost gives like that vibe almost. But like, yeah, like an all mom season would be really fun. Steib, did you comment on this yet, or?
No, he hasn't.
About the rival season, no, but I think it's a very fun idea, and like y'all were saying, the more seasons of newer players we have, the more chance we have to develop more rivalries. I think it is fair to push that back quite a ways and save it for later, but it's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right. Devin asks, I always ask this, but it's fun. Fun theme we should consider. Build off of what you were suggesting as season 13, Aleks. I'm going to let you guys go first, and then I'll say my answer at the end.
Was my suggestion half returnee, half newbies for season 13?
Yes.
I think? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with them on this one. Totally.
I think what you pitched is I think what you pitched was a fun idea, and yeah, it's absolutely something to consider.
It'll be a
yeah,
break newbies, and then you also get all stars. Hopefully, you know, like if this all comes in my mind crazy enough, would be at 15, where we at least have a huge pot of people we can, you know, get for 15, rather than like people who've already played like twice already. So that's just my concept, but again, who knows?
Steib, you got anything you want to say to this before I go in?
No, you can go right ahead. Other than I like looking at this one day at a time and just tackling it one episode at a time. You know, next Thursday we'll be back for our next episode, and then next week we got 2 more episodes planned in the week again. So I don't know. I guess time will tell all. But what do you have to say?
Yeah, if we're talking into I'm just pulling out the schedule so I can have it for a few minutes from now. But there's like a lot. I think I've already talked about some of them that I would think of, but like definitely like themes to consider. I think one that I know I suggested to them before. I know I suggested Devin and Christian last summer in a group chat we have. Wisconsin versus the US would be a really fun season 11 theme. Capitalizing how a lot of past seasons we've had a lot of people fly in from different states, territories. Of course, that's definitely like dependent on the cast at hand. But I think that would be a fun theme. I think I've said before, having like a theme of like an all men and an all women season in regards to like getting different personalities, because we've had a lot of seasons that have been mostly men. But the problem with those is that a lot of personalities, at least to a lot of people, felt very similar. So kind of getting like a different batch of personalities for each of those seasons could be very interesting from a sociological standpoint, anthropological, if you will. I think like doing another Blood versus Water, as people have been suggesting, would be fun. Another Fans versus Favorites would be fun. There was an all new. Oh, I remember the all newbie idea I had now. Yeah, I think I called it like triple threat, which actually was the one in that video that I suggested that I referenced to earlier that we did right after Whitewater. Where essentially it'd be like you get a group of people who they would be like, hey, like, do I think I'm gonna do the best physically, socially, or strategically in the game? And those are it's almost like brains versus brawn versus beauty, except it's in the elements of Survivor. I mean, of course, I'm sick of seeing 3 tribes as much as everyone because of CBS and Jeff Probst the autistic, but yeah, I think that could be another fun theme. It's like I said, like if I were to host another Survivor season soon, like I would think of a really fun theme that like has never been done before that I'd want to at least try out. Experiment with like all new challenges, like go like have fun with that. So yeah, I mean, definitely if we were ever going to do a half and half again, I think it would definitely have to be Blood versus Water or Fans versus Favorites, because I think that would be those were like 2 of our best Whitewater seasons we ever had, was Fans versus Favorites and Blood versus Water. So it's like those would be really fun to capitalize off of some of the players without like the concern of having to like call certain people all-stars or not. And even when we did Blood versus Water before, it definitely gave a lot of niche names opportunities to kind of rise up. Like I kind of feel like that was Nathan Bach's breakout season, if you will. I'm not going to go on because I could be here like all night talking about what I would love to do back in a hosting spot or what I think could be fun ideas for the future. But the gears are turning. They're always turning. So, sorry, there was another question that came up. Devin said rookies versus rejects is an idea. Actually, that'd be pretty interesting. Like a niche names versus like new names type of deal. I like the name. I've thought of that before, but like that's a good name for it. Actually, it's a really good name. If anyone wants to give us one more question while I try to find the there is sneak peek for next episode because it's lost somewhere. So I'm just trying to make sure I found it. That's what I've been trying to do for a while.
Yeah. I think we just go right now and talk about the preview for next week.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we're all ready to wrap up here. So.
All right. So I am going to give this one. We do have, if I can find the next, there we go. So our next episode is going to be on Thursday, November 13th. We'll be back here on Thursday. Next week, we have 2 episodes on Tuesday the 18th and Thursday the 20th. There are a lot of fun stuff coming up these next few episodes. Like the one coming up on Thursday. Here's your sneak peek. As castaways balance their lives in the game, one person feels away and lost, while another feels right at home. That's all I'm going to give you guys for now.
Well said.
All right, so unless you guys have any other comments or fun questions, we want to thank you guys for coming in tonight. Fun time as always. We will be back here on Thursday, November 13th. Hopefully this time with a guest. Yeah, I think that'll be very fun. A lot of fun ideas. I feel like I should make a live stream and like trademark so many of my ideas. I should start trademarking my Google Docs because I have so much I want to say, but I know I can't because I'd be here another hour. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. We will see you guys all on Thursday. Coming from McGuanago, Wisconsin, I've been Richie. I'm here with my co-host.
Oh my God, I'm not going to dust myself. I'm Aleks.
I am from your dreams. I am Aleks Steib. Thank you for watching, and I will see some of you tomorrow, and I will see most of you in 2 days.
There you go. Well said.
See, in man of your dream. Okay, I'm not unpacking that. I'm too tired to. Have a great night, guys.
See you guys.